Good morning and welcome to The Point. It is Tuesday, October 6th, 2020. Thank you to those of you joining us on the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, the website www.gbn.gd, those of you watching on GBN TV channel 7, 11 and 20, and good morning to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9. To the folks who usually join us on the GBN Television Facebook page, we are having some issues with the platform, but there are other mediums that you can use or media that you can use to join and tune into the program and participate. So check us out on any of the other platforms. Once we get the Facebook sorted out, we'll surely be back on the platform. But in the meantime, we're going to get into this morning's program. I have joining us virtually is Deputy Political Leader of the National Democratic Congress, Mr. I almost call it Persuader, Adrian Thomas. Adrian Thomas, aka Persuader, for those of you who are into the calypso and the culture. He's our guest this morning. Good morning, Mr. Thomas.
Good morning, my dear Blossom. It's a pleasure being on your program. It's a pleasure being on To The Point program. A heartfelt good morning to all Grenadians, Caricunians, Kayaks, Pitimatnikians, my friends and family in the diaspora. Pleasant good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. So let's get into it. We are going to start on a constituency level because that is the constituency, the last election as a constituency you contested last time. And let me ask, before we get into happenings in the constituency, any intentions of running once again in the next election whenever they are called?
Well, Blossom, I'm happy that you're starting off with St. David, and I'm going to tell you something. I am being dictated to by the constituency of St. David, the NDC people. So far, they have elected me as the caretaker to hold on to the constituency until further notice. I am hoping that they will give me the opportunity to run a third time. If that occurs, I'm the best available person to fill that position. I will have no hesitation because I am here to serve and not to be served. So it all depends on the constituency of St. David, the people. If that's the desire, I am willing to really and truly be part and parcel of it.
Last election, it was a relatively tight battle between yourself and the current MP, Oliver Joseph. How confident are you that this time you would be the victor?
Well, in 2013, you may remember that I came in just about 2 or 3 weeks before the election, and I was quite satisfied with the performance that I put on. It's unfortunate we had our party had some problems going into that election in 2013, and that may have created some kind of negative impact. Apart from a lot of the flaws that the electoral system carries. In 2018, I was able to move up the ladder by over 400 plus votes, almost 450 votes, and I am hoping that I will do the same with the situation in the country at presently. My effort together with the NDC and together with the people of Grenada in regards to the high level of dissatisfaction, I am hoping that the National Democratic Congress will do much better than it did in the last couple of elections that got.
All right, so speaking of dissatisfaction, what are some of the feedback you're getting from constituents in St. David about their current representation and the happenings in the Virgin Parish? Give us some update on St. David.
Yeah, well, I think that the people they really and truly, what they want is they want to be part and parcel of the development. They want to be part and parcel of the running of the constituency. A lot of things are happening in the constituency and they don't have a clue. There isn't any serious town hall meeting to discuss issues. You may have realized in the past couple of months, the constituency there have been a number of, I don't know if it's, the magnitude of it is enough to call it uprising, but people are speaking out in terms of not being satisfied. There are a couple of projects that are taking place in St. David. We have in Las Vegas Beach down there, we have the Sixth Sense development project that is taking place there, the destruction of the mangrove. People have been speaking out about those things. The people who are interested in birds, the bird sanctuary, they are speaking out of those things, and they're calling on the parliamentary representative because he seems to be missing in action. And really and truly, he's not, I don't know if he's what's his level, if he's fear of approaching the people and discussing matters. We understand the approach of this administration, this government, and I don't think the people will cuss him, but what the people want to know, they want their voices to be heard. The whole question of the St. David's Catholic Secondary School is something that has been on the back burner since before 2013. And we got all assurances that the repair will be done for 2 to 3 years, and we are going on 4 or 5 years now. The repair is requiring repair now. So the repair has to be repaired. And we really and truly wanted that matter to be addressed. St. David's Catholic Secondary School is too much an important institution. This is a noble institution. This is an institution that has done things that many other secondary schools in Grenada has not done yet. And maybe they may not do it in the future with the kind of competition. And I'm talking about sports. I'm headed by my good friend, Denise Williams. So this is a school with a rich history. How it started, I wouldn't go into details now, but I am quite aware of it. And these are things we want to preserve. So when we speak about St. David's Catholic Secondary School and you see the building, you see the students, you see the teachers, it must be something that you are proud of. And we do not want it to deteriorate at such a level that really and truly people are not happy about it. The health system in St. David's, I mean, it's threatening, and I guess it's life-threatening, and I guess that's a situation all over Grenada in regards to the kind of attention we pay to our health service. Sad to say, we have an ambulance in St. David, but many times it's not as efficient as it could be. And that is no fault of the nurses or the doctors or the drivers. It's just that our country needs to take health issues seriously. We got young, vibrant men in the police force, and these guys are willing to serve the country. But if you don't give them the kind of amenities that they really need to carry the work, it will not happen. And this, sometimes we fall short and blame the policemen for not taking up their duties, but I believe that the state has a responsibility, and it all comes with management of your country. Grenada is really and truly, they need to have that level of improvement in terms of management in this country. And we may say we don't have money, but that may not be true, because if we stop the amount of wastage that we are experiencing in this country, if we stop the level of corruption that is existing among many quarters in this country, if we stop inflating costs in some of the projects, because the ordinary man, sometimes when he listens to 10.5 million to repair a school in Carrico, he wonders whether they are building another school or 2 or 3 schools. 10.5 million to repair, that school has to be really and truly badly off. So we need serious value for money in this country. And that in itself will be a big savings, whereby our health service, our education, our agriculture will all have sufficient funds to take care of. We may not be rich like Singapore, but we have enough resources in this country. If we manage it properly, we can survive. Enough for St. David, but there are many more. But before I go, I must mention nepotism. It is becoming a disease in St. David. We as a people have to step up and crush this thing once and for all. Nepotism means that the NMPIs are taking care of the people, of the supporters, the friends, and the families. To hell was the others. Why do you have an agricultural labor support program, and the farmers have to go to the party office to apply for that work? And the party office will send its activists to assess the farmer's plots. And the activists will instruct, they will find the workers also who don't even have an agricultural background. They will find these workers, send it on the farmer's plot, who don't understand the basic agricultural practice. Sometimes they go on the farm and they cut down economic plans. So these activities have to stop if we are serious about moving forward. Nepotism is a serious, serious disease. Even in education, people have to go to the parliamentary representative in his office and ask for a voucher of $50, $60 when they were getting free books via the Ministry of Education or via the school. This is the kind of management we want in this country. This is what the NDC is advocating, and it's time that Grenadians listen. We have to stop this. Nepotism will not carry this country. What it does, it carries a few people within the ruling party while they use the vast majority of Grenadians to vote for them, to put them in office, to maintain that disease that is crippling our country. This is a serious investment in poverty and vulnerability. That is the key word. Vulnerability has been there for 2 decades now, and it seems as though we're not moving away from it. It's a plus for this administration. Wherever they have people who are vulnerable, they strive, and Grenadians need to step up.
Some people may say nepotism is part of life, is part of Grenada. That's how Grenada, for lack of a better word, survives. How can you, and by extension the NDC, ensure that nepotism does not take over if the NDC does get into power?
Well, I gotta blossom, and you are heading in the right direction. The NDC believes in equality and equity. 2 different words: equality and equity. Now, equality means that everybody will get the same thing. Equity is based on needs, and there are certain programs that, when coming to the education of your nation, we want equality, because the investment in education is not for you as the individual who sits there in a blossom, or the individual who goes to Cuba to study medicine. This individual is sent to Cuba, maybe he might be a healthy being, so not even to take care of himself. He's sent to Cuba to study medicine, so when he comes back to Grenada, he can serve our community. So this is the kind of investment that when you give scholarship to people, this is the outlook that you must make, you must have investment in education. And therefore, when we talk about education, we're talking about it across the board. And that must not be handed out in the party office. The National Democratic Congress will work with the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Social Development, and they are the ones that must determine and go out in the community. They are being paid for that. So why do party activists have to do this work? We say no. The National Democratic Congress believes in equality and equity and not in loyalty to our party. You don't have to be loyal to this party for the rest of your life. When we come with good policies and good program, all well and good for the National Democratic Congress. When we mess up, you say, down with the National Democratic Congress. And that is the direction we have to train our people to understand. You cannot be loyal to a political organization, good or bad, you are there. That does not make sense, except you're a political activist and you're running for government. But as ordinary people, don't get trapped with that. Support policies, support good programs that will benefit you and your country and will have national development. And that is the direction that the National Democratic Congress is looking.
While we're on the parish, I have to ask you about the situation that arose in the Fort Judy area a week or so ago. Any thoughts on the situation? There are people who are kicking up that they are being restricted from visiting what has been known as the blowhole, whereas the association, the Homeowners Association in Fort Judy, are saying we're not treating the environment properly. What's your thoughts on what's taking place in Fort Judy?
Well, I think the people must, whenever they are, and let me say something here. There is a new development that is occurring in Grenada now. People are feeling a sense of less in terms of being citizens of this country. They are being less treated. They feel that there is a development that is occurring that other people, foreigners, feel they have more rights in Grenada than Grenadians, and this must not allow to happen. We, as the government, has to make sure that they nip this thing in the bud. You do not want your citizens at any point in time to feel less than anybody else. We are Grenadians, we are proud people, we embrace foreigners, we are noted all over the world for our hospitality, and really and truly we are praised for that. What is happening down in Fort Judy there, it's unfortunate. I will not want to go into details because I have seen what happened in Alexis-Welsh with the beach. I attended that meeting in Corinth where the developer was present and were able to have a nice dialogue to resolve the matter. Some people may take the aggressive road as saying there's no time for dialogue, our place is our place. But I believe in solving problems in a very peaceful, amicable way where we all come out and we all can feel happy, because the point about it, we advertise land to foreigners and we sell it pell-mell. maybe some people might be saying in our country, why are you selling lands to foreigners? Let us list the land for umpteen amount of years. That is another option. But I will suggest, I will talk to the caretaker of that particular constituency, maybe the people who are involved, and let us see if we can have a dialogue, because I don't think it's right to lock the gates and people going down to food duty. I've been going down to that road and fly kite for years. As a young boy, I've been going right at the end of the peninsula and fish. So you do not want these things to happen. Although some people are claiming it's private road, but there are beaches down there and the people must have access to it. At no point in time, they must feel less than being Grenadians, and Grenadians in the true form.
All right, let's go on to another issue, unemployment. Unemployment has long been a conversation in Grenada when it comes to the numbers, how high it is there's a true figure, so on and so forth. What's the NDC's thoughts on the current unemployment status or figures in Grenada?
My dear, this has always been a burning issue for the National Democratic Congress. It's an issue that we seem not to tackle as a government and face it head on. It's an issue that will alleviate the level of poverty we have in this country. And there are a number of obstacles that is creating that is avoiding us from getting the kind of employment that we really want in this country. Now, employment has to do not only going to work, because some people could be going to work and really and truly they are not performing, or they don't have work to do, they're underemployed. We want to focus on empowering people. Too many times our students go to school, they go to university, and in the back of their mind, I want to do well to come back and get a job. And when they come back and they don't get a job, they are frustrated, they are disgruntled, they turn to sometimes they get a job in an area that they didn't even study, and because they want to survive. No, our employment, our study, our education must be focused on the direction we want to carry our country. I'm going to say tourism. So if you're going in that direction, train people and have scholarships that will target that particular area. In other words, from the top managing director of the biggest hotel in Grenada, we must have Grenadians available for that job. Come right down to the waiter. And when people go to study, if that is the focus of your industry, of your economy, then that is the direction we must go. However, the National Democratic Congress believes that agriculture can play a significant role in helping the unemployment. And then unemployment could be way up in about 60% now, post-COVID, because a lot of people are home. And we believe that some of the mega projects we are putting on in Grenada, and we boast about $2 billion in these massive mega projects, Blossom, bet by last dollar. If you take 1/4 of that money and you invest it seriously in agriculture, the rippling effect could create jobs instantly for over 20,000 people. Because we have seen these big $1 million projects with due respect to the tourist industry. When you go to those industries, yes, 200 people in the construction, and then you have another 50, 60, 100 for the most people employed. But we are talking about thousands of Grenadians. You put on 2 factories to process your agricultural produce. These produce must come from the land. You have farmers. Farmers have family. Farmers have employees. And this is the kind of rippling effect we want to see in the agricultural sector for the economy. The ITC is big investment, and people don't understand what is the role of ITC in agriculture. Well, I'm going to tell you, modernized agriculture has a lot of use for ITC. And the whole question of marketing is another arm of agriculture. People must be trained to market the agricultural produce. The whole question of packaging, and what I'm outlining here, Blossy, You don't have to go to the land with cutlass and fork, but you have a role to play in the agricultural sector. So that is the industry. That is a sector. That is one of the main pillars, I believe, can make a difference in Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitimati.
Major projects across the island are going up, as the saying goes, left, right, and center. Earlier you mentioned the Six Senses project. There are concerns that consultations are not being held for some of these projects. Do you share the view that more consultation needs to be had with members of the population?
Well, Blossy, I'm going to tell you, because lack of consultation is becoming another disease in Grenada. This country, with due respect, is being run like an estate. It's like somebody's personal estate, get up in the morning and had a dream and think of an idea, and they say, well, I'm going to implement that. And they impose that on 100,000 people. Where is the consultation? In St. David, I cannot remember or hear any meeting whatsoever, except the meeting that the concerned citizens called. And the core question of, not only in Grenada is this disease happening, it's happening in Carriacou. Because Tevin Andrews will tell you that the Harveyville, the moving of the port from from Hillsborough to Harveyville, the people was not consulted. And the people are coming to realize now what a nightmare Hillsborough is coming to by removing the port from there. So you don't try to enhance a particular area by killing another. We have seen what happened on the Carnage. Businesses were blooming on the Carnage when the cruise ship terminals was there. As soon as we move it to Melville Street, you see what happened. Everybody tried to go across the Melville Street. So you must have alternative, because you want to maintain and sustain the economic drive that is taking place in a particular area. Now, the whole question of the COVID-19 bill, they didn't consult anybody on that matter. What the people did, they said, hell no, you must consult us. And if you don't consult us, we will protest. And so the young people of this country, they were speaking out. The National Democratic Congress organized a demonstration up there together with the young people, and we had a successful demonstration. However, our eyes are not closed, because knowing the behavior of this administration, it's quite likely they will come with it again in a different format.
Actually, so they said they were bringing it back to Parliament sometime this month, actually.
We are keeping our eyes open, and we are looking to see what's happening. But that's not all. The farmers, the merger of the GCNA and GCA, two reputable organizations, have demonstrated over the last 70 years what they are doing for the farming community in Grenada. Both the Nutmeg and Cocoa Associations, they have not gone to government in many, many years and asked them for any handout. They may have asked them for support in moments of this crisis, when everybody experiencing a crisis. But these are not reasons to dismantle a two functionable organization for your own, because you have not consulted with the GCNA, not the cocoa or the farmers to a wider extent. You have taken on your own to impose a merger on them. And you're not even talking about a merger that where the farmers will maintain the status that they have. You want to reduce these farmers to next to nothing in this country. And we must not tolerate that. This administration must realize that Grenadians' eyes are opening. Grenadians are concerned about the level of mismanagement that is taking place here, the draconian measures and nepotism that is stifling and killing our country. Consultation has to be on the front burner, and the people, they don't like it. They don't want to be looked upon as second-class citizens. They don't want to have people come in here and do what they want. Are people coming and talk to this government, and whatever they tell this government is implementing without consulting with the people? We have to stop that. Double standard is also being observed in our society, and hence the reason why we had the protests. Some people call it the Jabja play carnival. The Jabja didn't play no carnival. That's not carnival in Grenada. The Jabja was protesting the double standards that this government is bent on implementing in this country. And I don't think they will stand another chance with the young people in this country. The young people have been fooled enough. They are made to believe that oil and gas will flow like water. They have been made to believe that the Imani program will carry them across the road, where they'll be able to purchase land, where they'll be able to go to the bank, where they'll be able to buy a decent home. or buy a vehicle. These Imani people who got the job 10 years ago, they are starting to have children. And they are realizing, boy, this $700 or $1,000 would not be able to take care of 1 or 2 children. Blossom, I've got 3 kids. Two are teenagers, and one is, my daughter she just come from UWI in Trinidad. And let me tell you something, what daddy has to put out, I don't think $2,000, $3,000 will cut it. So Grenadians have to come, we as a state have to provide the environment that our people will be able to place themselves in the right position. And the National Democratic Congress believes in people. We believe in people's development, whereby they will have some level of self-reliance and independence. Don't tell me you are 30 years, 40 years, and you're still knocking your door for your mother to get up and open your door for you. You have to be in a position where you can help yourself. And if the state is not concerned about those activities, the young people are now getting to realize that, hey, my father, when he was 19 years, I'm talking about me. When I was 19, I had a permanent teaching job. Permanent. I was able to rent a home and live by myself. By the time I was 28 years, going on 30 years, I was able to say, well, I'm in a good position to get married. And then later on, I was in a better position to buy a motor vehicle. My house is 20 years old now. A lot of our people, they are willing to go in that direction. But the serious economic situation in this country does not allow. And we have to fix that. So the government needs to talk to the people, they need to consult, and the National Democratic Congress, that is part of our DNA, consultation, talking to the people, finding out what's the problem and moving forward.
Before I go to the break, members of the NDC and other members of society as well have expressed concerns about the electoral system. From coming out of the last elections. Do you have any concerns specifically with St. David about the system and the voters registration list, re-registration to get ID cards and so on and so forth? Any concerns specifically with St. David?
Yes, well, I have serious concerns in St. David, and the concerns in Grenada is also relevant to St. David. I mean, I got registered. There are people who got registered in February. They don't have the ID card. We are not, while the law speaks to once your name is on the list, you can vote. We are not sitting there quietly because we have an administration that you cannot trust. They can get up in the morning and go to Parliament and pass a law and say, if you don't have an ID, you cannot vote. So we are encouraging every single soul in Grenada, not only NDCites, everybody have a right to vote, because we have seen in St. David what has happened 2 weeks before the election. It was not a matter of the NNP putting out serious issues for the people to determine who they vote for. The NNP was bent on bribing people, sharing money like bread and water in St. David. And it's quite likely that the state funds that have been used for that. So that element of bribery is another issue we have to get out of our electoral system. It may not be in black and white, but it's functioning and it's playing a role. We have seen people from the upper part of the lower part of St. Andrews, whose name was on the electoral list. You may have seen what happened in Northeast constituency, St. George Northeast, where Brother Naz filed some objections, and the response came months after the election, because the electoral officer was playing on the word of the law and not the intention of the law. Because the intention of the law is to fix all this thing before the election. So whether it gave you 15 days or a month to respond, you must make sure that this is being fixed before the election. And those are the bits and pieces. By moving people from the electoral office and bringing in party activists is another flaw. You must, I mean, this government really and truly do not have the reputation to make this kind of decision and make recommendations to the GG. I think the time is coming for Grenadians to step up the vigilance and to really and truly let this government know that maybe this electoral process, we need to have a wider cross-section of the population being involved in it, where we have people who neither here nor there with any political party, but the political activists inside the offices, the supervisors in the various constituencies is a no-no, and we have to fix that.
Let's take a quick break and then we're going to come back inside with the conversation. We're speaking with Deputy Political Leader of the NDC, Adrian Thomas, a.k.a. Persuader. We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to come back. This is To The Point on Classic and GBN.
Let us reimagine how we rebuild stronger, fitter, healthier economies and societies at a September Caribbean Economic Forum, where we chat about adjusting to the post-COVID-19 economy with a panel of international economists with Caribbean roots and our experiences. Bahamian Dr. Peter Blair, Assistant Professor at Harvard University. Vincentian Dr. Wendell Samuel of the IMF. From Guyana, Dr. Dylan Naleen, Deputy Director of Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC. And Dr. Eric Strobel, Professor in Environmental and Climate Economics, University of Bern, Switzerland, and who's worked across the Caribbean. Join the conversation about rebuilding our nation's economies.
Caribbean Economic Forum, this Sunday at 5 p.m. on GBN television channels 7 and 11. GBN, keeping you informed with global issues, anywhere and everywhere.
The Grenada Food and Nutrition Council remind you to boost your immune system and give yourself a fighting chance against COVID-19. Consume foods that are rich in vitamin C, like fruits and vegetables. For example, oranges, grapefruit, mandarin, lemon, spinach, cabbage, and tomatoes. Vitamin B6 and folic acid that is found in chicken, turkey, fish, grain foods like oats, bread, local provisions, dry beans, and peas. Another immune system booster is vitamin E, found in nuts, corn, sunflower or canola oils, and leafy vegetables like spinach, broccoli, and kale. Iron, zinc, and vitamin D are also important to strengthen your immunity. So try foods like lean meats, eggs, lentils, mackerel, tuna, and jacks. Our local spices, ginger, clove, and turmeric, among others, can help decrease inflammation and support the immune system. Remember to practice safe food handling. A message from the Grenada Food and Nutrition Council, reminding you that a strong immune system is one of the best ways to fight COVID-19.
Welcome back to The Point. We are speaking with the Deputy Political Leader of the National Democratic Congress, Adrian Persuader Thomas, issues of national importance, including the parish of St. David. Let us go to our viewers and listeners who may have comments, questions, queries, concerns for Mr. Thomas, and then we're going to get to national unity. 435-2041, that's the landline number. It's also the WhatsApp number. Please, only written messages on WhatsApp. You can also post your comments, questions, queries, concerns on the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel. Before the phone rings, let me go to WhatsApp. There are questions. Never mind, the phone's ringing. Let's go to the first caller. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning. I have two questions or 2 pointers. My first one is this. The Fort Judy situation. The gentleman made the comment that it's all foreigners, or he may assume that it's all foreigners living in Fort Judy, but it's not so. There's a lot of returnees from America and UK who are British born, who have homes in Fort Judy, including relatives and close friends of mine. The problem is this with Fort Judy: the blowhole has become popular, and I've seen it with my very own eyes. People would go up there, they will really, really dirty the people's driveways, grounds, and everything. And when they talk to them about it, they'll cuss them, really abusive cuss words. That was never pointed out in all of the publicity. I am Grenadian by birth, but I grew up in the UK, and I've been here off and on. And one of the things I have experienced in here amongst my people, and is the lack of respect for other people's property, and it's the ability to curse instead of reasoning, instead of coming to a communicative understanding of situation, instead of using facts. We use a lot of hearsay propaganda, and we create chaos. And I think the situation should be looked into. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. It could become a very developed attraction for Grenadians. And there could be a kind of a guidelines how we use. Yes, my friends and relatives have to pay into an association to keep the place clean. Do Grenadians who visit understand that? If we do understand it, we will respect the area, we'll respect other people's property, and we'll have a very amicable relationship with each other. It's not all foreigners living up there. We are tired of being called foreigners in our own country.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller. Mr. Thomas?
Well, I really was not hearing what the caller was saying. The rain is falling very heavy. And so I turned up the volume to the max, and I still wasn't.
So I heard.
So I don't know if you want to give me a synopsis of what you said.
Sure, she was basically saying when you spoke of Fort Judy, you referred to some of the residents, or you referred to residents in Fort Judy as foreigners, but she was making the point that they are not all foreigners, they are returning nationals as well, and Grenadians really have been abusing and littering, and for lack of a better word, spoiling the Fort Judy area.
Well, yes, and if she got that impression, I want to sincerely apologize, because really and truly, that's not my intention. I've got a lot of friends in Fort Judy, and I know that they are Grenadians as well. But I was speaking to what is developing in terms of in Grenada in recent events. This coming from the U.S. with Floyd, with the death of Floyd, where Black Lives Matter. It is now, people are now in a different frame of mind. So any little thing will trigger that kind of reaction from the ordinary man in Grenada, because they do not want to have that sense, because it's a gated community, just like Westall Point, as the case may be. And the impression that people have about those places is maybe not the best. So hence the reason why I was saying that I would not say much on the matter. It's always nice and dandy to maybe have a representative from the area together with the people who are concerned. I will be happy to be part and parcel of organizing such gathering where we can sort out, because the real issue, if the issue is garbage and littering the area, then that is how we have to deal with the matter and see how we could solve that problem. So sometimes the way we deal with problems becomes very confrontational, and it does not paint the real picture in terms of what needs to be done. And I want to apologize again if she really got that impression. If anybody else got that impression that I was really talking about the residents in Fort Judy, not at all. I'm talking about how we try to solve matters in terms of bringing amicable solution to whatever problems we may face.
There is a comment on the WhatsApp. The NDC talks, but when they get into office is something else. How would you respond to that?
Well, there'll be a lot of, not something, there's some things, a lot of things that will be different to this administration. As my entire discussion here this morning, we're talking about people's participation, people consulting with the people, putting people first. Those are the we're talking about accountability, transparency, integrity in public office. Those are principles embedded in our DNA. And if you really look at this present administration, there is a sort of laissez-faire attitude that they have towards governing this country. Spontaneous response. Election is here, oil and gas going to flow like water, because they think that that's going to resonate with people, and people are going to fall for it and vote them into office, and they get into power. Our intention is always thinking about the next generation, not the next election. Yes, election is important in order to get into office, to think about the next generation. But that we cannot, I will feel very, very bad, Blossy, if I have to lie to the Grenadian people to get into office and bamboozle them, show some sign of deceitfulness. I mean, those things are really truly not in my DNA personally, and hence the reason why I was attracted to the National Democratic Congress, because we do things differently. We do things concentrating on national development. I mean, the recent reshuffle of the cabinet, where the Prime Minister said in no uncertain terms, this reshuffle is about giving the ministers experience and for their personal development. My goodness, what are you talking about in this day and age? We want, in the National Democratic Congress, we want the best man for the job, because this is no learning on the job effort. You don't have to have agricultural background to head the Ministry of Agriculture. That's not what I'm advocating. But we want somebody in the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Health that understands and that is trainable per se. When I say trainable, they could understand the ropes quite quickly and serve the people in the best possible way. And I remember I say serve the people, because a lot of ministers, especially in this administration, they want to be served. So they become a minister, and you walk about with your shoulders as high, and everybody you meet, they will bow to you. That's a lifestyle they want. My goodness, I want to serve. I don't want to be served.
Which brings me to this comment before I go back to the landline. Somebody on WhatsApp says, no matter what you and the NDC say or preach, as long as you guys don't play the political games, you will always get blows. So find money, real cash, pesos, and play the game. Two can play the game. Give the block liners what they want, drinks, food, cash. Give poor vulnerable people cash, food, 2 weeks before election and a day or two before election. Match up, or better yet, beat them. In other words, buy votes. What would you respond?
Well, Grossi, I gotta tell you something. Once the money is available, we'll give it to who is in need of it. Sorry. Once the money is available, we'll give it to who is in need of it. But I'm going to tell you, I will not thief. I will not sell my country. I will not sell my birthright. I will not sell my patrimony. I will not give away my passports to generate this kind of money to do that. Because what we are realizing now, Blasi, that all the money that has been distributed from 95 to now, a lot of the people who receive the money, they are not in a better position. I've traveled the community. They are still without running water. They're still using pit latrines. They still cannot get 3 square proper meals a day. Some children cannot go to school. So the money, yes, have the money, bamboos them, deceive them, carry some deceitfulness out, and really and truly, that would not carry our country. And we're just spinning top in mud. Hence the reason why we are in the same position that we were, some of us, 20 years ago, because we believe in handouts. Handouts have proven time and time again, it will not carry you as an individual, it will not carry your constituency, and it will not carry your country. What Grenadians have to do, and we have to do, and I'm not afraid to say that, it takes hard work to get where you want to go. Many of us who own cars and land and house and whatever properties we have, it didn't come by within a jackpot. We work hard for it. So we have to be honest with the people. And I'm not putting my face in any basket to say this. Hard work is what pays off. And Grenadians are coming, I believe, to realize that the handouts, the election money would not cut it. It's just eat a food for a short moment, but the bulk of your life, to maintain your children from the time they're born to the time they're 16, 17 years, election gimmicks would not cut it. What you want is a decent job. That is what you want, and that is what we must make noise for. And that is what must be the election issues come 2023.
Back to the phone lines. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you today, Mr. Thomas? How are you, sir?
Morning. I'm good.
Now, all over the world have the same problem with things are working right, not only Grenada right now. Mr. Thomas, we'd like to get a second hotel in St. David's. You know, St. David's are the first town in Grenada, so we need to get back a town in St. David's. We have the land, especially going back to last year, going back all the way to Rookin. There's a lot of lands there that will have nothing. So we need to get back a town in St. David and build St. David, because the people right now are trying to do something in Bacolets with a little selling and something, but that place is not for that. It's too small. You understand? Right by the road there, between the roads about there. They need a better place to sell all the goods and so on. So we need to get back a town in St. David. We have the land, so let's see if there's something happen. And try hard when you get there to make sure that we get that other hotel, because I hope you get there, because I know you very well. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller.
Well, you're quite right, my brother. We need serious development. St. David's is being referred to as a virgin parish, and it's because we have a lot of space, we have a lot of potential. We need the development, and nobody is opposing development, but we see consultation is key. And you cannot have development at the expense of our patrimony. We cannot have the development at the expense of our mangrove. I mean, I cannot go into details. I will not go into details now in terms of the importance of a mangrove, but those are the things you want to play with when it comes to development. As you rightly said, we have a lot of empty spaces. We can go many other places. When we said that they were coming to build a university in Hope City up there, people in St. David's was really excited about it because we knew what a second SGU would be like in Grenada and the kind of impact it would have created on St. David, even though it wasn't being established, would have been established in St. Andrew. But we are right in boundary, and we knew definitely it would have spill off. So we are in for development, and I'm not too sure about advocating for a tongue in St. David per se. Maybe we might say Grenada have too many tongues, but there are some tongues in Grenada that really and truly, if we're going to have them like the benchmark, I think St. David is really nice as a virgin parish, and there are many ills that tongues come with too. I mean, with due respect, tongues come with a little vagrancy, come with a little rowdiness, it come with a little disturbances. But yes, Grenada is only 133 square miles. Tongue of St. George, the tongue of Grenville, any direction you leave Grenada, you can get to any one of them. But we want development.
Somebody on WhatsApp says, I have a serious concern on what I see as troubling for the integrity of the NDC. In my view, there is a certain radio activist who disrespects our leaders and females at certain times. Now he is promoting what seems to be a divided faction of the NDC. So be careful who you guys have speaking on your party's behalf.
Well, the National Democratic Congress, we don't own any radio station. As a matter of fact, for the last 2-3 years, we have been struggling to get onto radio stations and television stations. We have been releasing news, and few people carry it. And I must admit that we are getting much better reaction these days. And I think people want to hear the National Democratic Congress. They have been calling, as a matter of fact, they have been calling for the National Democratic Congress. And we are standing up. We are standing up to the call. We are responding. But really and truly, we don't have an own any radio station. It is our dream to have our own in the future. And I can guarantee you we'll be working towards that. But really and truly, we are who we are, and our level of integrity must be maintained highly.
Has the party received complaints or heard those concerns from other members of the public with what they see as a not so positive spokesperson for the party? Yeah, I'll put it that way. Has the party received that information? In regards to the radio station that they're talking about? Of the activist, I would call the person.
Yes, we have. And the response that I have given here is the same response that many of them give. But I'm not trying to be naive. They are talking about Kem Jones' radio station, Kem Jones, and the way he does things. He has made it on no uncertain terms that he is not in support of any political party in Grenada. Yes, he pledged to support the NDC, but he's not running his station on behalf of any political party in Grenada. He made this abundantly clear, and nobody will be able to dictate to him. I can only call Kem Jones and ask him if he can come on his station. He may say yes, but I'm sure if the Prime Minister of Grenada call Kem Jones and say, I would like to have an hour on your program, Kem Jones will be happy to accommodate him at the same time. Kem Jones is his own man. He has his own opinion. He has taken a political stand, and we cannot vex with him for that. He's an individual that came straight from the NNP. He was in camp, so he's not a guy that that does not think on his own. He was in NNP. He decided, well, that's not the best party for me. He decided to support the National Democratic Congress. I cannot tell you he's a card bearer, but I must commend him for touching some of the burning issues in this country. I mean, a lot of the burning issues in Grenada came from Kem Jones, and we have, as a people, we have to be honest to ourselves. How he handled other matters, everybody will have different opinion, but he's not part and parcel of the NDC hierarchy in terms of determining where our party goes.
Let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Go ahead.
Now, this statement, what is man making there? Some of them think he could be saying it could be the truth, okay? But let me let him know this morning, the NDC trying to come back into power, they are wasting their time. The coming election, if they get 3 seats, they get more than 3 seats. They had blocked, they had spoiled away last election. Now, for instance, tell me something, man. In the name of conscience, you have some poor people getting $150 a month, which that is only a small pocket change to the poor and very set of people. You mean because they are not a member of the NDC party, you're going to remove it and say, you're not my party? Is that good enough? That is a downfall. They ain't going to win no election again. They block the way. And Tillman and Nazenbach should look into this thing and see what is happening. Let us take it into consideration. They have taken this 150 from them poor people. They want to come back there now. No. When you look at it, the same people who are getting the same pension from government, they will not vote for them because they are afraid of them right now, because they have blocked them, that damaged them completely. So what he's saying is a waste of time.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is that Thomas?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the general. I don't think he has the facts right at all. This is not. We have never ever taken away any money from this program. As a matter of fact, we added when we came into office in 2008, and so he does not have that facts right. But apart from that particular issue, there are many other issues that the NDC will be advocating for the next election, and there are many other programs that we implemented in 2008. We have in the agro-industry in Grenada had seen a new light. We brought Baron into Grenada, the abattoir in Grenville, the Grenville market, the education, the book program. I mean, all those things are important development that will develop the people. And that one issue that is singled out there is not sufficient to dent a political party as he's advocating, but the basis on which he's advocating that is not true.
As we wrap up this morning, Mr. Thomas, let me ask you about national unity. Your thoughts on national unity in Grenada?
Yes, we definitely have to take a united approach to solve the problems in this country. Even to tackle the NNP and the cabal system. Really and truly, the Grenada Empowerment Movement, headed by Earl Maitland. We have the Grenada United Movement by the young people, Cassandra and Joel, and we have Ashida and all of those people involved in that organization, subject to correction though. We have the youth organization, we have the NGOs, the churches, all these organizations, and tomorrow I think there will be a new movement launched under the name of the movement, the movement of Grenada. The Grenada movement, sorry, something like that. Yeah, the Grenada movement, headed by my good friend, Brother Patrick Antoine. Now, all these organizations, I think their focus will be, yes, I see you make a surprise there. I may be subject to correction also. Their focus is on helping Grenada and in terms of national development. And that is our focus also. So if we have 6, 7, 8 of us focusing in that direction, it might be wise for we to come together create a united front and tackle the problems in terms of what will help us to, the problem that we wanted to solve that will help Grenada to grow. And the NNP syndrome that is crippling this country, that is creating a lot of poverty, a lot of vulnerability. We want to make sure if we are focusing in the same direction, we have to unite and to tackle the problems. So unity is a must, and we will not shy away from that. We are willing to hold talks with all organizations that is heading in that direction. And actually, you want to be on the same page with everybody. You may have little bits and pieces and to tweak and so on, but the direction, the whole question of a united front going forward, even for this election, will be a great idea.
Mr. Thomas, thank you very much for sparing some time and being our guest this morning. Appreciate it. We covered quite a few things this morning. Yes,
but before I go, Blossy, I just want to make one quick point. It will be remiss of me if I do not sympathize with the students who wrote the CSEC and the CAPE exams this year and the little trauma that they are going through. It's really a little frustrating because the investment in education for the last 4 or 5 years, not only with the students but the parents, they have invested heavily. And what is happening now, we don't know what's the problem with it, but it's something worth looking into. And I call on the minister to pay particular attention to that matter. It's a serious matter. It's something that we are playing with the young people's future, and it worth the while looking into. We have Sister Franca Bernardino, who is an expert in that field. She's available. If she's needed, she'll be happy to help. Brother Andal, who is also an educationist, will be willing to help. Blossy, it was a pleasure being on your program this morning. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to the next one once given the opportunity.
No problem at all. Thank you. You too. Enjoy your day. All right.
You enjoy yours too. Bye-bye.
Deputy Political Leader of the National Democratic Congress, Adrian Thomas, a.k.a. Persuader. We thank him for being our guest this morning. And thank you, our viewers and listeners, for tuning in to The Point. That's the end of my time today. Janelle is up next with Mid-Morning Buzz. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning, God willing. Until then, stay safe and have yourselves a productive, rainy Tuesday. There are showers of blessings on the outside, so if you're using the nation's road, if and when, please be careful, especially our drivers. There are puddles of water, the roads are slippery. Please be careful out there. Have yourselves a good Tuesday.